Hello and welcome to my second herbal snippet video. This one's going to be a little bit longer because I feel like the reel just doesn't even touch on my plant nerdness. So the my cat's here. So the plant that I really want to introduce today is a plant that is grown on almost every continent. It's a very invasive species, and when I say invasive, that's really a plus to me, especially when harvesting, because even when you take a large amount, you're not really destroying it because you're actually allowing the natural plants to flourish. This plant is a great plant for the digestive system. It has an affinity for the kidneys. It loves the liver, and this is just one cool chick. Speaking of chick, her name is chickweed. Chickweed is found pretty much anywhere where the ground has been really disturbed. Fun fact, it is also the first plant to come back after you spray Roundup. So be careful of where you're harvesting from, and always make sure that you have harvested from an area that has been sprayed with pesticides. Chickweed is found everywhere. I guarantee you'll have some in your yard. I'm trying to show this, but it has 10 petals that are white and deeply grooved. It also has opposing leaves. I don't know how well this will focus, but there's a leaf on each end. Another telltale sign that you have chickweed is that there is a singular line of hairs that runs along the stem. That's pretty easy to identify. This plant is great for hot conditions. This is a very cooling, nourishing plant. So I'm going to go over some of the little things, and this will be completely unedited, so bear with me, and just know that my anxiety of doing this is super high because I don't like being in front of a camera. So one of the first things I want to talk about with chickweed is her ability to heal the digestive system. So when you break apart chickweed, she's really sappy and milky, and those are actually saponins. And those saponins are one of the things that makes her a wonderful plant to work with. So when we are consuming this plant actually works in the digestive system to actually put a protective coating throughout our digestive system. And what that protective coating does is it kind of really keeps the acid from attacking. So if you're thinking heartburn or just really just stomach aches and stuff like that. But the really cool thing about this protective coating is that chickweed actually works to absorb more nutrients. So not only are you protecting the digestive system, you're also assimilating your nutrients better. So you are getting more from your food than you normally would. The other thing about chickweed is high in nutrients, is high in minerals, trace minerals, and vitamins. So adding her to your diet can have a large impact. That being said, easy ways to incorporate her are you can eat her raw, you can saute her. She's great with any sauteed greens. She's great as a tea or an infusion, and when I speak of tea and infusions, sometimes people think they're the same things, but they're not. Tea is usually steeped for a very short amount of time and really grabs the aromatics. And infusions are steeped usually longer, 8 hours. There's my cat again. 8 hours usually, and that's grabbing more of those plant constituents, basically the things that make the plant work. So yeah, and I can always do a video on the differences and how to do them, and yeah, I'm just winging it out here. So anyways, the other really awesome thing about chickweed is chickweed has the ability to draw. So when I speak of drawing, think of pulling, okay? Pulling to the surface. So that is very useful in infections. She's also a cooling plant that can draw. So she's great for infections. And the really nerdy cool thing is most time with what is called a poultice, people usually heat up the plant and then put it on the skin. And then when it's cool, you know that it's done. Well, the cool thing about chickweed is you put chickweed on cool and it'll actually heat up as it draws that infection out. So when that poultice becomes warm, it is time to take it off, and it's physically pulled the infection out. It also pulls out splinters. So if you've got a kid that hates tweezers, put some of the chickweed on it. It's found everywhere. The other amazing thing is that she's great for cooling down the liver. The liver is an organ that is prone to heat. And I am not your doctor. I cannot diagnose you. I'm just a plant nerd. But usually when somebody has a hot liver, they're angry, they're frustrated, they're mad at the world, and they have racing thoughts. Telltale sign is usually you lay your head down at night and your brain clicks on and you just can't shut it up. Well, sometimes this is indicative of a hot liver. And a great way to cool it down is to use chickweed. Chickweed has a great cooling factor on the liver. So all in all, it's wonderful. Another well-known use for this plant is with pink eye or eye infections. No more struggling with eye drops, no more doing all that. A poultice with chickweed actually put on the eye has like an 80% chance of reducing that infection in one use. And I think, to quote that, was Graves in her book, but I can double check that reference. So instead of having to run up your insurance bill and do all this might be something that you can try that's readily available to you before having to do all that. Now, I'm not saying at all avoid your doctor, don't do it. You go to the doctor, do what you need to do. This is just me plant nerding. The other cool thing about this is that she absolutely is a wonderful plant for your kidney system and your bladder system. So if you are somebody that is prone to UTIs or has kidney infections or bladder infections or any of that, this is a great herbal ally to work with because of her cooling qualities and her demulcent activity, which basically means that it forms a protective layer. But she's great for that system. She works great within your body. She is also great for cysts. So anybody that knows that has had cysts, you have to go in and like manually have them drained, and it's awful. But this is a great plant to work with ovarian cysts and breast cysts because it pulls out. It's just amazing. Like, this plant is amazing. So like I said, she's nutrient dense. Another great thing is that she's great for the glandular and the lymphatic system. So she nourishes and works within both. And anybody that kind of studies or is a nerd about your immune system knows that your lymphatic system has a huge play within that. It helps nourish, it helps get your lymphatic system moving. It nourishes your glandular system, so think like thyroid and stuff like that. So this plant works well with the body. Another great thing is that she loves the lungs. So anybody that's prone to like a dry cough or just having like a dry lung situation, she's really great within that. And I would highly suggest looking into it, at least getting to know her on that fact. So yes, so this is my little chickweed video. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm going to try to keep doing these, but honestly it's terrifying. So I'm here plant nerding out on weeds. I appreciate it, and this is something I truly and honestly love and use within my everyday. I will be doing more on this plant with a photo and description and better like plant snip uses. Thank you so much, and I look forward to doing more of these.